Good evening, everyone. What's going on? It's me, John D. Villarreal, and we're going to be joined by Paul F. Villarreal. Happy Friday. Hope everybody is doing well. Unfortunately, we have some tough news, some sad news to report. We're going to talk about it. We are going live right now on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And we're going to be, as I said, joined by Paul F. Villarreal. We're talking about many things today. Who knows where it's going to go? Probably keep the show a little bit shorter here. First, we're going to talk about Kate Middleton. We're definitely going to talk about that and the tragic cancer diagnosis. It's been hitting the news. It's worldwide news right now. We're also going to talk about Candace Owens versus the Daily Wire. They have parted ways. A lot of talk about there in the conservative sort of media ecosphere, if you will. We're also going to talk about Trump. A lot of different stories about Trump with the SPAC and how, True Social might be going public or, whatever the merger is, things like that. We're going to talk about that. The press seems to have been wrong on that one. We're also going to talk about Trump and the properties, different things like that. EVs, new EV mandates out there from automotive, huge topic. And this is what Trump was talking about. This is when they talked about one of the comments there about, they try to take Trump out of context with the bloodbath comment and all that type of stuff, in my opinion. And Trump was talking about EVs. Now, we've got Stellantis that has laid off 400 people today. The EV mandates have been revised by the Biden administration. We're going to get into that. It's really tough days for the auto industry, and it could be getting a lot tougher. And we're going to talk about that. Huge to talk about. RINOs, many different topics on this one. All right, RINOs, Republicans in name only, if you will. And I'm not accusing anybody of that. That's a colloquial term of art, word phrase that people use. But Mike Gallagher, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Ronna McDaniel going to NBC. We're going to talk about, hey, where's Nikki? It's kind of like, where's Waldo? Hey, where's Nikki? Where's the voting block and all this stuff? Nobody's heard from her. Lots to talk about. But we have to first start here right now, bringing in Paul at Villarreal, who has been all over Twitter and has really been talking about a lot of different things out there. He's building that Twitter following on X. You're up to 17,600, 17,700. It just keeps growing. Paul, this came across breaking. People were speculating, and apparently Kate Middleton, Princess Kate, has cancer. I don't know much about it. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family. Absolutely. A lot of people, really just find, definitely have a lot of, especially the British folks out there and really worldwide, right? I mean, they have a lot of admiration for Princess Kate. And this is and the family there, and this is definitely something that has hit many people hard. What's going on?
Yeah, it is hitting people hard, and there's been so much stuff around this, so much conversation, so much speculation, rumors, smears, just all kinds of things, and just people just actually wondering what is going on happening with her. Today, we found the information. I don't think people know exactly what's happening. Like, they're like, is this cancer? Was the cancer in the past and now it's preventative chemotherapy? So there's a lot of questions still out there, but I think people are just happy and kind of happy to hear something, happy to actually see Kate Middleton live video. But of course, people are sad and concerned about what's going to happen to her. So this is the thing, like, this is dominating the news right now all over the world. And there's tributes and thoughts and prayers coming in from everybody. I heard Dr. Ben Carson talking about it earlier. So that's the news that's going on with her.
Now, I mean, breaking here, Fox News, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle headline. Prince Mary and Meghan Markle send message to Kate after cancer announcement. There's been a lot of heat with Meghan Markle and the royal family and the different things. What do we know about that? Where do things stand now? I mean, you and I are not like, royal watchers and stuff like that. So I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have any information on, that relationship and if it's going to be repaired or just what's going on?
I personally do not think that relationship's going to be repaired, in the sense of, I do not think there's any chance that Harry and Meghan are coming back into the working royal family, like part of the official royal family. I think that a lot of people who are fans of Kate Middleton and Prince William aren't really interested in that kind of press release today, because some of the people that follow William and Kate believe that some of the rumors and the gossip that's been going on in these last few weeks with kind of after Kate's surgery may have been pushed or kind of pushed along by some of the fans of Harry and Meghan. I'm not saying that's what the case is, but I can tell you from reading on Twitter, that's what some of William and Kate's fans think. So in other words, I don't know if the people that are big fans of Kate, I don't know if they were waiting with bated breath to hear what Harry and Meghan said today. Let me just put it that way.
Okay, understood. Now I'm here on New York Post. We've got some more information here. New York Post, Sarah Nathan and Emily Crane, headline, Kate Middleton diagnosed with cancer, undergoing chemotherapy in heartbreaking health update. And I guess like I'm looking at it right now. There's a video that Kate Middleton put out here talking about how tough it's been for her family and everything, and the treatment and the people that have been great taking care of her. And, you know, definitely looks like a little bit of a different Kate Middleton. I mean, I know our father had, I don't want to get too personal here, but our father had leukemia and had to undergo some chemotherapy and some different things. And it's rough stuff. And a lot of families deal with this. A lot of people deal with this. Obviously, heart disease and cancer are two, big killers out there and health risk to people. But I mean, my goodness, I mean, you've got a princess here. You've got someone so young, a young mother. It has to be just crazy, devastating, and crazy, just very much tragic for the family and stuff like that. She did say here, quote, the 42-year-old royal learned of her diagnosis after, I wasn't even sure she was 42. Wow. But I guess that makes sense. The 42-year-old, quote, the 42-year-old royal learned of her diagnosis after undergoing, quote, major abdominal surgery in January at the London clinic, unquote. And then basically after the surgery, they found out that the cancer was there. And even that, then it goes on, quote, a gaunt Kate said. So, I mean, yes, she's looking a little different, as you'd expect in this video. And just, wow. And this is, so they're calling it, quote unquote, preventive chemotherapy, and that she's in the early stages. What do you think, Paul? I mean, this is pretty crazy right here. I don't know if they've explained what kind of cancer it is or have gone really too detailed about it. But obviously, there has been a lot of speculation, and she felt the need to make this video or wanted to make this video. What's your take on that?
Okay, so my take is this. Number one, Kate is naturally a very thin person. Mm-hmm. Like she just is really trim, and she almost looks frail. Now, there are times where she looks thinner than other times, and look, she might be pretty thin and pretty gaunt right now because of doing chemotherapy and maybe just nerves. I mean, she's been going through a lot of stuff. The second thing is this. You mentioned about our family and our stuff with cancer. Their family is going through more cancer because King Charles has cancer, right? I believe. I think he's dealing with that. So like this is multiple things going on for them health-wise, which is, unbelievable, especially for a new king and for the heir apparent and his family. But what I heard from a PR professional, they wrote this on Twitter, this makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. They're like, look, the reason why she probably waited until now to do this is because apparently it's right around the time where her 3 children, are getting a break from school. So in other words, putting out this video now when they're about to be away from school kind of shields them. And one of the things she said in the video that she put out, about a 2.5-minute video, was that the biggest part of all of this was waiting for the children to kind of understand what was happening, because they're small. They don't know what's going on with cancer. And she wanted them to kind of be able to kind of get a sense of it, feel it before she told the whole world. And then, everybody's asking them about it. So I think they've handled this very responsibly. I personally have a lot of respect for William and Kate. I'm not the biggest royal watcher in the world or anything, but of all of the people, of all the royals that I'm familiar with, except for the Queen Elizabeth, who, God rest her soul, who I had massive respect for, I have the most respect for William and Kate. And I think they've handled this about as well as you could have, given all of the stuff that they have to deal with, which we've seen in the last few weeks.
And she says here, quote, that she has a desire to maintain as much normalcy for her children as possible. We understand that. Prime Minister Sunak had a statement there. Quote, the Princess of Wales has the love and support of the whole country as she continues her recovery. We definitely echo those comments. I mean, where do we go from here? What do you think is next for this? I mean, and I'm sort of loath to get into it, but do you think that on the Meghan Markle and the Harry thing? I mean, what do you think about that?
I honestly, in my opinion, and I've followed this relatively closely, I just don't think that. Look, there was Harry offered to kind of come back into the fold on a short-term basis after the diagnosis was made about King Charles, and that didn't happen. So my guess is that there isn't going to be any particular thing involved with this either. That's just my own personal feeling. I just think that there's still a lot of frayed edges there, and now's not the time. Understood.
Lots more to talk about here. I'm going to have to step away for 1 second. Next topic we got to talk about is, and then Paul will get your comments, Daily Wire versus Candace Owens. They have parted ways, and I've seen this coming for a while. I know the Quarterings talked about it. Other people have talked about it. I've seen this coming for a while. And in fact, I mentioned to you the other night, I'm like, look, you've got Candace. You've got the comments that obviously happened in the wake of October 7th. You've got Ben Shapiro that was kind of caught on, I don't want to say a hot mic, but just that video after October 7th, slamming Candace Owens. Candace Owens has been on with Tucker Carlson. She's been on with Patrick Bet-David. I just felt like she was, to use wrestling parlance, going into business for herself. I'm not making any claims or allegations or any specific whatever. That is a wrestling parlance that basically, I felt like, as the Quartering said, and I agree, I felt like she wanted out. I felt like she wanted out for a while. I have a lot of comments on this. I mean, I have a lot of comments on this. It's kind of like, how much do we want to say? What's your take on this, Paul? I'll step away for a second, and I'll be right back within a minute.
Yeah. Look, my own personal feeling as regards Candace Owens and the Daily Wire is that I'm not somebody who watches much of any of them. I don't watch Ben Shapiro. I don't watch Matt Walsh. I don't watch Candace Owens, and so forth. On that regard, though, on the other hand, I have a lot of respect for them. They've been successful. They are well known. A lot of people like what they do. Personally, look, I have not been happy myself with the way Candace Owens has approached 10-7 and the aftermath of that.
Okay.
Is she allowed to say what she wants to say? Yeah. I mean, now you also have to take responsibility for what you say. But personally, I just have, I haven't liked the way that she's approached things as regards that topic in the last few months.
Now, I'll be honest with you, because I'm not, I mean, I gotta be I gotta be careful what I say. First of all, let's start with this. Both these, Candace Owens and the Daily Wire, much bigger than us, much more successful, much more influential, all of the above. Okay. I'm not a Candace Owens fan. I'm not a hater. I don't follow either one of them on a day-to-day basis. I don't follow either.
That's what I said, but you stepped away.
Yeah. I don't follow either one of them, even on a casual basis. Okay. It's just not my thing. And the people that are like, Ben Shapiro on the Daily Wire. I'm like, okay. Right. Okay. Those are the kind of people that might be hanging out at a Liz Cheney party or something like that. And not all of them, but maybe some of them, or Nikki Haley, or Ronnie D, and type of thing. And Candace Owens, Candace Owens is more, along the lines of to me, in my mind, of a, Steven Crowder, also very, very successful, huge presence. No doubt about it. All these people are way more successful than me. It's just not my cup of tea. It's like it's kind of like, how do I say it? What's the right analogies? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you've got everyone's got their own unique voice and everything like that. But you've got like Candace Owens, kind of feels like Ann Coulter, kind of like, although Ann Coulter, kind of like Steven Crowder. That's kind of like one zone, if you will. Daily Wire is kind of like, what's the rest analogy for Daily Wire? You know, Dave Rubin, or like, what's the right analogy? I'm just searching for, it's not quite back. It's different. It's a different zone. It's not quite back. I can't find the right. I mean, it's more of that Karl Rove, Nikki Haley, Cheney, you know, and those aren't even really the best analogies. Mark Levin, maybe, I don't know. It's more, I don't know. I think it's kind of like Kevin McCarthy. Like, I don't know. I'm not really, it's fine. It's okay. It's cool. I mean, you know, look, Ben's super smart, successful out there. Happy all these people are on our side, everything. I'm not trying to be a critic. But then you've got people like us. Now we're nobody, right? I mean, I've said that. I've said it many times. I'm nobody. I just know a lot of things. I know a lot of people, right? But I've crossed paths with a lot of these folks, or exchange emails, or know someone that knows, you know, whatever. It's different. You know, you've got people like Tucker Carlson. We're more on the zone of like a Tucker Carlson, Vivek, you know, Trump. We're in that lane, right?
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's actually a really good analogy.
That's like, I'm just such more of a fan of Tucker, Joe Rogan, that type of a vibe. The stuff with, again, like I said,
even
look,
Dave
I'm
Portnoy,
happy, like you said. Yeah, I'm happy that these people are on our side and they're very useful. But the Daily Wire stuff, a lot of times to me, feels almost like you said, like it's almost like establishment kind of stuff, but in a nicer package. Like it's well produced and stuff, but you're still kind of defaulting to that. And I don't know. That's just like, it doesn't feel MAGA-ish, a lot of the stuff. And I think we're more in that zone, we're much more MAGA-ish, dude, bro type of a thing.
And there's a lot of, go ahead.
If you want to be establishment, if you want the bridge between the establishment and MAGA, that's somebody like Tucker Carlson. He can be in both worlds. He's been in both worlds. But now he understands that more people are more towards the MAGA part of things than the establishment type of things. If you want to compare, we talked about this earlier. If I had one person to compare Ben Shapiro with, I think this is what I said. Oh, actually, no, we were talking about Dave Rubin. It's like a Guy Benson. It's kind of young, it's kind of hip, but it's also establishment, and it's a different thing.
It's a different thing, no doubt about it. And it's like, yeah, Guy Benson, I think that's a good analogy right there. It's so, and here's the thing with the Daily Wire, you had and no less than Patrick Bet-David. And Patrick Bet-David, I think, is more along the lines, is going close to that Tucker, that MAGA thing, you know, that type of wing as well. Has his own type of deal. A little bit of Grant Cardone zone or whatever, you know, the business thing, which is cool, or Mr. Wonderful, you know, Kevin O'Leary and stuff like that. But I think that like there's been a lot of issues with it. So I think that I'll take your word about the whole Candace Owens comments, because I can't really remember them, whatever like that. I think there's been people that have criticized Ben Shapiro definitely lately and stuff like that in terms of some of his views. I also think that the Daily Wire has gotten into it with the manosphere and Pearl and Tate and different things like that. And I think that, you know, my feeling is that Candace felt like Daily Wire to use and maybe Shapiro lost heat, if you will, to use wrestling parlance again. that just wasn't where it was cool anymore. That wasn't where it was hot anymore. And then particularly, backing DeSantis and the influencers and Rubin and these people backing DeSantis. And it was the MAGA train that was taking off. I will say this with Candace. I mean, Candace is pretty good at being able to, not unlike Trump, put her finger in the wind or have a sense of where the pulse is, where the action is. And, I think that there's been this back and forth. And the problem, we talked about this before with the whole Ken thing and the Kenergy and the Ken song. I mean, and again, super successful with Barbie and everything like that. But there's not many. I mean, and Ryan Gosling, fantastic performance and fantastic shape. Obviously, a superstar, mega, whatever. We're not talking about him specifically, but that version of Ken is not aspirational for many men. Similarly, I think people can respect. And I'm not trying to be a punk, dude. I mean, and listen, I'm older. I got the dad bod, whatever. I mean, but you look at Ben Shapiro. There's not a lot of guys. That and Tate's gone back and forth. This is Ben Shapiro too. There's not a lot of guys that look at Ben Shapiro and say, that guy's, that's the kind of guy I want to grow up with. Now, you might respect Ben Shapiro. You respect different things. Very successful, smart, business, this and that. But I mean, a lot of, and this is, a lot of people look at whatever you want to call it. I mean, Chuck Norris, Rogan, Dana White, whatever, and say, okay, that's more Trump. That's more the motto of what I want to follow, right or wrong. Okay. And, different, maybe not unlike, fill in the blank, some Hollywood Margot Robbie or something. Harvard PhD or something like that, but there's a lot of women that want to be like Margot Robbie or have that life, or Kylie Jenner, or fill in the blank, right? And that doesn't, that just is what it is. And this is the thing. So, and this goes to what the quartering said, and I'll say the same thing, because Dave Rubin's like, I think Tucker Carlson, and this just shows how I think off a lot of this conversation is, how they were talking about how they were talking on who was bigger, Tucker Carlson or Ben Shapiro, Daily Wire. And they're like, Dave Rubin's like, I think it's pretty close. I don't know. I think it's pretty. And Patrick Bet-David was like, no, I mean, Tucker Carlson, they got some different stats. The problem of it is that the Daily Wire spends so much money on sort of promoting their videos and stuff and promoting the views. I mean, they're real views, but I mean, when you're just, I'm not alleging anything, but this is what I understand from hearing and reading, my personal opinion, that there's just buckets of money. I mean, just buckets. Like, I've heard things like, I don't know, I have no inside information or anything like that, but it's like 6 figures, maybe even 7-figure buys every month. Now, I may be completely wrong in that. I'm not alleging anything, but that's just massive. Like, I mean, I'm a digital marketing expert, and I've done stuff for companies and done some special projects, and little TD budgets and stuff like whatever. And you put a little bit of money in, and that's that is extreme. I mean, and I've done an extremely rare on special projects and stuff, or just to test and things like that, or just for just to test some things here and there, because you see what would work, or where you want to do it. I couldn't even conceive of $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $1 million, even $1 million, $100,000, $10,000, or $100,000 put against videos per month. That's crazy land. I mean, I don't know how you wouldn't be, super well ranked. I don't know how that would even be possible. I mean, because you've got to be getting stuff super ranked up, stuff like that, Paul. I mean, and that's why what Courtney was saying is, you don't know what the real audience is. My perception, and what Patrick Bet-David said that I'm saying as well, is there's nobody that has a bigger voice now than Tucker Carlson in conservative media. Like, nobody. The only other person, but it's not like he's not pure conservative and stuff like that by any stretch, is you've got like, different, okay, at the top level, or the very highest level, you've got Trump. Right? Trump's number one, right? In terms of actual impact, voice, reach, all of it. Trump's number one. Then you've got like people like Rogan, Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson. I'd put them all at a somewhat similar level. Then after that, then you've got, people like, fill in the blank. Is it Patrick Bet-David? Is it Megyn Kelly? Is it, I don't know. There's a lot of names you could throw out there. Is it Beck? And I mean, there's a lot of names. Daily Wire is not something like again, you're in it. You've got all kinds of people following you and stuff like that. I've got people that look at my stuff. I'm big on LinkedIn. You're big on X. I just don't. I mean, I don't even go there, dude. I don't know anybody that goes there. You know what I mean? And the people, and I don't want to be a punk, but the people I know that go there are like amateurs, dude. And that's fine. I mean, occasionally I'll see an article. Oh, that's a good article and stuff like that. But it's just like. It's just a different vibe. Like you look at the vibe of the set of Patrick Bet-David versus Ben Shapiro, Clavin, like Matt Walsh. Like what? Like it's just a very. I'm getting myself in all kinds of trouble. Your comments, Paul?
Look, I mean, the short story of this for me is this. It's what you said. I don't pay a lot of attention to the site. I don't pay a lot of attention to Ben. I don't pay a lot of attention to Candace. They decided to go different ways. I'm not surprised by that on a number of levels. And for part of what you said about maybe Candace thought there was greener pastures of somewhere else, which is what she did when she was with Turning Point, in my understanding. So that's what happened. It's not going to affect me very much because I don't partake in their stuff. But like I said, it happened. We got to talk about it. We talked about it. And that's it. And like I said, I don't think that they're, Trump is the king, Tucker is the prince, and with Joe Rogan is another prince. And that's what it is. And that's, like I said,
where would you put Elon?
Everybody else is fighting for us. Oh, Elon's his own thing.
Yeah.
Elon's his own entity. Yeah. I mean, it's different because Elon's not doing a podcast or a show every day. But his voice is as loud as anybody's is because of X.
It's almost like Trump's the alpha, the alpha leader, and Elon's like Sigma. Elon's out there on his own, but everybody has to deal with Elon no matter whether you want to or not. And let me clean this up a little bit. First of all, they're both super successful, and both the Daily Wire and certainly Ben Shapiro and certainly Candace Owens. I have no doubt Candace Owens is going to be very, very successful. I look at Candace Owens as, as you said, like more like a Dana Loesch type of thing. But she's been very successful. She's going to be very great. I would rather, this isn't any. And it's a big tent. You can like a lot of different people. Not everyone's going to like me. Not everyone's going to like Paul, whatever. And that's totally fine. That's not even the point. I think if I had to choose, now just to be clear, if I had to choose, I'd much rather do business with a Ben Shapiro, and definitely respect his business ability and his education, stuff like that. But I do think that in this respect, that Candace's instincts have proven a lot better in terms of being able to know where the party is and just know where the action is. And I do think that there is, and we see this, we're about to talk about this in different things. We're about to move on, but I think that there's still a significant portion of the party that doesn't yet know what time it is. You know what I mean? And it's look at Nikki Haley and look at this Gallagher and other stuff like that. So anyway, just want to touch on that. Again, really don't have a ton of comments on that. Respect everybody there. And very interesting, but it is big news. We do need to talk about that. I wouldn't be surprised if we find Candace on, whether she does her own show, maybe she'll be on Rumble, maybe she'll be with Tucker. Who knows? We'll find out. Okay, next topic, Trump. A lot of stuff going on there. Paul, let's talk about this thing with Trump. Now, the SPAC looks like it's going to happen, or the thing with True Social. What's up with that, and could this maybe impact the whole situation going on with New York?
Yeah, well, so apparently it was decided today, or I don't know who made the decision. I can't recall, a court or whoever it was, basically that, yes, the True Social can become a publicly traded company. And my understanding is that the value that Trump has in the company is worth somewhere like maybe around like $3.5 billion. Of course, if he was able to get his hands on that money right now, then that would cover whatever's going on in New York. But he can't get that right now. I think there's a certain amount of time before he can liquefy the shares. So he can't do that right now. But of course, it's great news for him. It's great news for his supporters. And it kind of is a rebuttal to what is taking place in New York. And no matter what you're trying to do to him, he still finds a way to win. And Scott Adams, who's creator of Dilbert, who is a very smart guy and understands Trump's techniques of persuasion as well as anybody does, basically said it like, yeah, we're all going to look back on this as like Trump leaving Letitia James like a 15% tip, which is the bond amount, but he gets this $3.5 billion. And Letitia James helped him raise money for the campaign when the plan was supposedly to bankrupt him for the campaign. So in other words, Trump finds a way to win. And we've seen this before. You know this for yourself. We know this with athletes we worked with and with somebody like Elon. Winners win. Trump finds a way to win. And that's what he's doing again right here. And his supporters are happy. It's a great way on a Friday to go into the weekend.
It is a great way, and it could be Trump just dunking on Letitia James and that whole thing. And it was like, I mean, it was always talking about maybe we're going to seize Trump Tower or Bedminster, all this type of stuff. And then if Trump gets this kind of money, I mean, people are rallying to Trump right now. That's not, again, we're just reporting right here. This is not like this is not any kind of campaign, any type of thing. We're just reporting. This is our personal opinion as a talk show host. And it just seems like, people are so sick of this stuff. There also was that whole thing. I mean, you've got a lot of stuff happening right now. We're not going to go too much longer, but that border situation, that video of the wire fence getting cut, rushing, some of the guards there on the Texas border. I think it was on the border of El Paso. This is just, it's getting out of control. We had Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks, that really went off, and Cenk really couldn't say anything about, these people, these suspects getting let out on no bail, and yet they're searching grandmothers now Kathy Hochul was on The View talking about, the National Guard out there in the subways. Like, things are just really upside down and are hitting a point where people are really not happy. You have NBC reporters going out there talking to people in Pennsylvania, and they're like, the economy's great. You just don't, the economy's great. You just don't know it. And like, people are like, no, it's actually really bad, and the inflation, and this isn't cool. And as we talked about before, inflation is cumulative. So if the rate goes to 1%, it's still been jacked up like whatever, 20, 30% over the last, several years and stuff. And it's just out of control to the point where it's, 3-4 years, whatever, where people are really feeling the pain. And as we swerve into the one of the final topics with the EVs and the automakers, dude, it's bad in the car biz right now, and it could be about to get a lot worse. We have a lot of things out there, Paul, that are really being, very, very, very tough. We have, of course, there's things going on in the foreign policy aspect as well. That leads me to this. We now have about, what is it, like 7, not even 7 months. Like it's just over 6.5 months to go into the election. Where do you put Trump and where do you put Biden right now? I know you follow this stuff pretty closely.
Trump's ahead. I mean, I think Biden got a little bit of bump from the whole the hoax about what Trump said at the rally. I think that helped Biden a little bit. Overall, I think Trump's where he wants to be. Now, you said earlier about people not knowing what time it is, certain Republicans. Well, that happened today with a representative from Wisconsin named Mike Gallagher, who decided today that he's going to resign. Now, he wasn't going to run again, so he was retiring, and that's fine. But you're resigning now. He was resigning in a couple of weeks. That hurts the majority. Also, he resigned, and the way the Wisconsin law is, you have to resign in a certain amount of time. There has to be enough leeway time to run a special election. And the way that they said it is, if you resign or if you step away after a certain period in April, the seat is empty until November. Well, this guy did it knowing that. He did it on purpose. And so this is somebody, a RINO, who doesn't know what time it is, and people are not happy about that. And so you look at somebody like that and you're like, what are you thinking? You seem like you're putting yourself over the basically the good of the country. If you think if you think Republicans are the people who should be in charge. You mentioned about foreign policy stuff. Look, there's stuff going on in Europe right now that some people think could be, a stepping stone to World War III. Things are escalating there. And we have people like Mike Gallagher saying, nah, I'm just going to retire. Whatever. Yeah, I'm out of here. And so people are not happy about this. And so what I think right now is where things are is Trump is in the lead. But it's not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy because, as I said, it's going to come down likely to the 3 blue wall states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Biden has a durable appeal there. He just does. I see it here in Pennsylvania all the time, and we're going to have to deal with that as conservatives.
We do have to deal with it, and there's a lot of things going on. I mean, right to your point right there, that's very, very important comments. We've got Ken Buck. First of all, we had a very, very small majority right there, and Speaker Mike Johnson is out there. You can see, obviously he's faced some criticisms, but I mean, it's not an easy job. Just ask Kevin McCarthy. And you're seeing, and I think that Johnson's doing a good job right now, as far as, I mean, don't follow it every second. I know people are criticizing, some of the bills and the omnibus stuff and some of the Ukraine stuff. And I do not have my hands on this. MTG has, did this motion to vacate to warning. We're not going to cover that, today. So I can't get into all the little milieu here. But I mean, I would say, listen, you can't expect a total sea change until Trump goes in there and we have if there's not a potential red wave and stuff like that. Would you take Johnson over McCarthy? I mean, you have to think of it in those types of terms. Where are we now, and versus some of the Freedom Caucus and Matt Gaetz and those kind of voices versus where we were a year ago. I think those are the things you have to kind of look at. But you've had Ken Buck that's retired. And done some similar thing. And again, any one-off things can happen in people's lives. There's 435 members of Congress. You never know, right? But you're seeing some strange patterns here from what people would consider RINOs or McCarthy allies or whatever, right? Or not, not in the Trump camp, not in the MAGA camp, whatever. McCarthy, Gallagher, Buck. You're seeing former RNC head. Romney McDaniel, that's now going to NBC. Super weird. Kind of reminds me of another former RNC chair that's over there on MSNBC, right? From Maryland. I mean, you just seem to see this. You've had Kinzinger, you've had Cheney, you've had this raft of folks. Nikki Haley, where's Nikki? Where's Nikki? Oh, Trump's got to come out there. Trump's got to win over the voters. Well, it turns out that a lot of your voters were Democrats or independents. A lot of the Wall Street Democrat money was funding you. It's just like, what are you talking about? And as you said, Paul, taking the people and the personalities out of this, we have super serious issues right now. All these people are talking about how important it is and democracy and conservative values and real conservatives and all that. And instead, now it feels like they are sabotaging the Republican majority in Congress and sabotaging this election, if you will, and not supporting the nominee. All the people that say Ronna McDaniel, who hey, the pledge, help write the pledge, if you will, or supported the pledge or whatever like that. And again, going to NBC doesn't mean you're not, but it's like, dude, you've got people like, again, look at the people, look at the Republicans over there on NBC and MSNBC, right? I mean, Joe Scarborough and Nicole Wallace, etc. I mean, that's that. What do you think about all that, Paul? Am I characterizing this right?
Yeah. I mean, look, let's be honest here. I think that the networks purposely, in my opinion, I mean, I don't know. I'm not their producers. There seem to be a lot of people invited onto those shows and paid to be contributors to those networks who aren't exactly MAGA Republicans. So, yeah, there does seem to feel among people, I saw it all day today, a belief that this is a sabotage maneuver by people like Ken Buck, by people like Mike Gallagher. Some people think it's Kevin McCarthy trying to strike back because he's mad about what happened to him. I don't know, but as you said, it doesn't look real good. Are you seriously telling me that you can't stay around for 7 more months? I mean, it just, it doesn't seem legit. And a lot of people are unhappy about it, and that's that's where it's people
yeah, not to interrupt, but these are the people that are saying that Trump's the biggest threat to democracy and the republic. But then you're exiting, and so if you want to go over there and join the likes of Michael Steele, Nicole Wallace, and Joe Scarborough, and who's the talk show host? Oh man, you know what I'm talking about. Another one. What's his name? He appears.
What station?
No, he appears on Meet the Press sometimes and stuff, and Harvard dude. What's his name? I'm blanking for a second. But this is what I'm saying. I don't listen to these people.
Can't remember.
I don't listen to these people. I know you will. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, look, I mean, like you said, people are they're disappointed.
Oh,
if
sure.
most people feel
They
like a lot is on the line, and people are just like dropping the ball.
Well, and that's it. And so it's just what I'm talking about. When you say these things, it's like, what are we doing? What in the world what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? It really puts the energy into this conservative ink or con ink type of deal when people see this, because now is a time where we should have people coming together, and instead of coming together, we've got this kind of thing. It's insane, dude. It's insane, and just shows you what it is. And this was all, a lot of people say this is about business. This is about power. And there's a lot of people that were just not for America first, if you will.
I agree. A lot of people have feel that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do we go from here, Paul? Like, what do you think is what do you think is going to happen over this week? Larry Elder? No, it's not. It's not Larry Elder. I'll find it. I'll find it. It's just bothering me right now. Where do we think we go from here? And I'm about to. I'll also talk about the EV thing and how bad that is, and we'll wind that up.
No, look, we just go into the weekend. We keep supporting Trump if that's the plan, which I think it is.
Hugh Hewitt.
Hugh Hewitt, right? He's Michigan.
Okay, Michigan. That's right. He was Michigan. I think he was Harvard undergrad and then Michigan. Law. Yeah, okay. I think that's right.
Yeah, and nobody's paying attention to Hugh Hewitt. I think that we move forward. Again, things are in a pretty good space right now. We have to see what's going to happen with Trump and his properties. Of course, a lot of people are concerned about that. We march forward towards the election, which is registering people, making sure everybody that is prepared for themselves to vote, try to get friends to vote. If you can donate if that makes sense to you for Trump or whoever else, and spread the word.
Do you feel like
spread the word?
Do you feel like Trump and Team Trump has the momentum right now? Like, where do you? And on the one hand, people are upset at Gallagher and stuff. On the other hand, if you look at McConnell, Gallagher, you look at all this stuff, McDaniel, you're seeing Trump is firm and MAGA is firmly in control of this party. You're seeing that, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson on the media side as well, that we're not, that the independent MAGA voices are not going to be silenced, if you will, by the corporate media. And I'm not getting involved in the Candace versus Daily Wire thing, but I'm just saying, like, if you look writ large as to what's going on out there, you're seeing a lot more independent voices. And again, this is, and thankfully to, Elon Musk and X, this is why this is so important to go out there and, being able, having a place where you could do free speech. So I think that's important. Last topic right here is, let's talk about the automotive stuff. Automotive stuff is getting, and this is a big thing, and it's one thing in the many. This industry is getting absolutely eviscerated. You have Stellantis with 400 job cuts today. You have sales that are tanking, and some people are like, well, they're making money in COVID. Okay, that's part of the truth. But Biden administration put out some new EV mandates. And it was like some I don't have the stats right in front of me. I should have had that. Some super high number that was supposed to be all electric by, in my opinion, super high number, a high number. Let me revise it. A pretty high number. by 2032 or whatever it was. Now that's been revised down, but it's still a pretty significant number. I think it's like 30 to 50 or 30 to 40. It was like over 60. I don't know. I got to double check that. I'm not alleging anything, but it was revised down, but it's still a very big number. These EV mandates are coming, and the EPA just put that out. So that's real deal Holyfield, in my opinion, from what I've seen out there. And now you have Trump's comments about how the EV manufacturers are setting up there in the battery stuff in Mexico. Some of these are Chinese plants. You've got BYD, who's outselling Tesla worldwide. You've got Tesla. Hertz CEO resigned because they made a bet on EV, 100,000 Teslas. That didn't work out. The resale values of the EVs are going down. They're harder on the roads because they're heavier. There's resale value issues. There's a lot of issues, technical issues. And this is costing people real jobs now. This is a serious situation. What does this mean for the UAW and the auto workers? I mean, I can't get too into it, but I got a call, earlier this week from an executive, a high up executive, and they are very concerned. Okay, very concerned, and they should be. And I'm like, dude, you're finally on the same page as me. I was here 8 years ago. I knew what was coming, or almost 10 years ago. So it's like, it's a real deal. And there's a lot happening, which is to say this. And as we wrap up, I feel, Paul, and we'll get your final comments, that things are getting very, very serious on a lot of different fronts. They've always been serious, but to a different level now. And I feel like the events are going to overtake the politics and the spin and the narratives, if you will, and they're kind of got out of control of the Democratic media complex. And I do feel like people are just like, hey, I don't care what you say. I know what I'm experiencing. And whether that's on the job front, because, okay, maybe the job numbers, or first of all, these job numbers have been revised down dramatically. It's not the initial report, it's the revisions. Check the revisions, okay? Because that's a huge revise down, number one. Number two, if you have to take 2 or 3 part-time jobs, it looks like you have, let's say you have 3 part-time jobs, looks like you have 3 jobs, that's 3 jobs, but it's really like 3 jobs to try to make 1 job, or maybe they're not the best jobs. And then also who's getting the jobs and what kind, and all these things. So what I'm saying is the reality is stronger than the narratives or the Democratic media complex. Would you agree with that in your final comments?
I agree. When you come to the EV stuff, Biden, I think he's trying to kick the can on when it's going to be, when you have to make the changes by, because he knows this is hurting him. But CNN came out with a poll of Michigan today, which 3 of the 5 days polled, I believe, I think that's right, were done on the day of or after the hoax thing with Trump and what he said. And Trump was +8. You want to know why? Because the people in Michigan knew exactly what he meant about the auto industry. And they know exactly what the EV mandate means. And that's the bottom line. Like you said, you can't fake people, and people aren't faked.
I love it. All right, lots to talk about here. We had a little bit of a longer show than we wanted to go just because there were so many different topics. And obviously the breaking news overtook everything. And our thoughts and prayers go out to Kate Middleton, Princess Kate, and the family over there, and everyone around the world. There's a lot of things happening around the world. Thoughts and prayers go out to everyone. Stay safe. And then be sure to check us out. Check out Paul on X. He's over there on X. Paul, how can people find you on X?
At Aurelius Stoic 1. At Aurelius Stoic 1. That's where I'm at. I'm under my own name, Paul Villarreal. So we'll see you there. And go and follow John D. Villarreal. You need to follow him.
Yep. Come on, follow me. I'm also on LinkedIn, YouTube, as you know, and on Facebook as well. We look forward to it. We'll see you next time. For Paul, I'm John. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.